So there is a huge, and I'm talking about a huge, can't stress that word enough, huge potential problem for that certain nameless party on the horizon. And this, it comes in the form of newly acquired documentation, newly acquired videotape that had never been turned over to the opposition. These things, they existed in 2016, but hey, we're not going to turn that over. Now, the item you and I are going to be looking at today, this is a subpoena to the 2016 divorce lawyer, but the reason that it's coming up isn't because we're reaching back to 2016. Now, the reason that this is coming up is because in December 16th, 2020, Miss Laura Wasser gave deposition, and Miss Laura Wasser pretty much dropped a legal bombshell. She said, quote, "There is newly obtained surveillance camera footage. There is newly obtained deposition. There are other items that conclusively disprove false allegations, and these things, well, they were hidden from us back in 2016. That I cannot stress enough. That is a problem for a certain nameless person. So yeah, let's you and I look at this. Let's look at the claims that they're going to refute very briefly. Oh, this is a fun ride, I swear. It's my favorite one, so buckle up and enjoy. So hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. Now you and I, we're going to look at that document in just a moment, but before we do, I want to briefly remind you of just how contentious May 2016 was, the list of demands produced by that nameless person, and the links to which they would go to get what they wanted. So you can see here, this is really a brief summary. You get a Range Rover, not one, not two, but 3 penthouses that are demanded. These penthouses, by the way, are nice. We're talking about lap of luxury, nice. $50,000 a month for trips, clothing, etc. And you notice there, executive possession of the dogs. Remember, they don't have children. So this thing here, it not only keeps a tie active, but it makes somebody actually pay for that. And it takes something valuable away that they like. And also, you got to pay for the luxury of doing all of this as well. Now, in order to achieve that desired outcome, a narrative is produced. This, it goes directly to the subpoena, by the way, because everything that goes public, it has to support that narrative. And interestingly enough, that narrative, it comes up May 23rd, 2016 behind the scenes. This letter, this showcases it, by the way. It says we can work toward this privately. We can basically keep it to ourselves. Even a judge will sign off on it behind the scenes. If you don't like that, though, you don't give us what we want in 4 days, well, we're going to take this forward. And that's exactly what happens. Now, back in 2016, I'm sure there were a lot of backpats and high fives. After all, this thing, it led to a massive payday. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about clout. I'm sure that whoever came up with this idea, they thought, yeah, this is a bright bulb in a dimly lit shed kind of notion because we're never going to return to it. See, the venue for that is family court. And in family court, you can pretty much produce allegation without substantiation. You can call your significant other anything under the sun. And you're not going to face any kind of legal ramification for it. It's screwed up, but that's the way it works. But that nameless party, they took this stuff outside of it. That, it's led to scrutiny. That scrutiny, it started people looking at video surveillance, started looking at documentation, started looking at everything under the sun that was produced. And what they're saying is they found that some things, they were actually withheld. And those things, they would have disproven a certain person's narrative. That's why you see the subpoena in front of you. This is adding to a deposition that has already been gathered. And like I said, I can't stress that enough. This type of thing, it would be a legal bombshell if you find that there had been items that had been actively suppressed. Now, as far as this subpoena is concerned too, I'm going to clarify a few things. As far as what this is attached to, I know people get confused about this all the time. After all, we had UK 2020, we have the appeal stuff going on. We had a case move. We have stuff going on in California. This, it's attached to Virginia 2022. It's a subpoena that is issued in California. That's because the divorce settlement had happened in 2016 in California. And this, it's not asking for deposition. It's asking for the production of documents. You can always tell that by which box is checked here. If the box here is checked, they're asking for deposition. They want you to come and talk about it. This here, if it's checked, they're going to to list what they want below. The date all of this has to be produced by the way, is April the 2nd. Now, I'm not saying you and I were going to see anything by April the 2nd, but it's fascinating when you really think about what they're asking for here. Now, as far as subpoenas go, there are 3 relevant sections. You have definitions, you have instructions, and then you have the documents to be produced under this subpoena. Always check all 3. You and I were moving past definitions because they're pretty much standard form. This stuff, it is talking about the 2016 divorce, but if you question that in any way, shape, or form, it is publicly available, so definitely check it out. The same thing goes for instructions. They are standard form, but again, never take another person's word on it if you don't want to. Go in and check that out at your leisure. But the documents to be produced under this subpoena, basically, what are you asking for to be produced? In response to this subpoena, you are required to produce the original or an exact copy of the following. So, number 1 here, all surveillance video camera footage. So that's anything whatsoever, including but not limited to any clips. You notice that, including but not limited to, so it could be anywhere out there. From the Eastern Columbia building, I redacted the information for it. Even though that's publicly available in a publicly available document, I still removed that. Obtained or received by you or your office in whatever format preserved. You see all the formats there, relating to or in connection with the 2016 divorce action and or otherwise referenced in the deposition of Miss Laura Wasser on December 16, 2020. So you can see here, this brings up the deposition of one Miss Laura Wasser. It gives the date here. So this is in a quote-unquote fishing expedition or grasping its proverbial straws, as it were. And you see the Eastern Columbia building mentioned. If people don't know about that, you had 14 alleged incidents. Many of the main incidents, the ones that you hear about, like, oh, what's that on the beds? Oh, no, the dog actually did that. And the remote control things, the end allegations, the big ones, they hail from the Eastern Columbia building. There are other ones too, but this was the primary residence. Then you get into the big stuff. Listen to all of this, really listen to it. All documents relating in any manner to the allegations of, quote, newly obtained surveillance camera videos collected and hidden from JD for a period of years, as referenced in paragraph 17 of the complaint. Woo-wee. That's a short statement, but man, like I said, I can't stress that enough. It's a bombshell when you think about that revelation. Number 3, all documents relating in any manner to the allegations of newly obtained depositions. So, you have surveillance video, but you also have people that talked about this stuff too, collected and hidden from JD for a period of years, as referenced in paragraph 17 of the complaint. Again, that is a monster statement there. And number 4, all documents relating in any manner to allegations of other evidence that conclusively disprove that nameless parties' false allegations collected and hidden from JD for a period of years, as referenced in paragraph 17 of the complaint. Whew, man, that's a lot of stuff. I can't wait to see what comes up. Then you have number 5. If any evidence, including any videos, photographs, depositions, communications, or other documents relating to or in connection with the 2016 divorce action was destroyed in whole or in part, please provide all documents relating to such destruction, including communications and the remaining portions not destroyed. That's fascinating too. Even if you don't have that around, even if part of it remains, even if emails remain talking about it, messages or whatnot, we need that stuff turned over too. Like I said, this stuff, it's yet another problem, and a huge problem at that, because it's not just talking about misinformation, it's talking about disinformation and creating that through withholding in court. You can't do that. That is highly, highly illegal. And that joins in with charity. That joins in with the notions of paying people off so they'll testify on your behalf. Again, these things that have been coming up recently, these are the types that don't just cause you problems. These are the things that will bury you. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this possible. I can't say that enough. And a lot of people, they've forgotten about that, and they shouldn't. If you want to to help out the channel too, we could always use your help. Check out the links in the description. I appreciate the heck out of that as well. But you being here, you help out. Make sure you share this video too. Make sure you feed the algorithm. It's a hungry, hungry beast. And the more you feed it, the more this gets out. And thank you. I appreciate you. I'll end here with see you soon.